You may be seated. I think when we lost the music, we lost the microphone also, so whoever knows that button. Yep, I can hear that now. Can you guys hear me back there? I want to just take a minute and welcome you to this occasion of the wedding of Chuck and Katie. How many of you, by raise of hands, know Chuck? Okay. How many, by raise of hands, know Katie?
I knew him.
All right, well, both of you have a lot of support here. We're going to get started with a prayer from Rick Barry. If Rick will come forward, please, and offer the prayer.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we humbly bow our heads before Thee at this special occasion, we pause to give Thee thanks, Father, for this opportunity we have to witness this special occasion between Katie and Chuck. And Father, we're so grateful for them and for this opportunity we have to be together as family and friends and to witness this special occasion that they are embarking in this day. Father, I pause and give Thee gratitude for the blessings we have in our life, for this beautiful country we have to live in, for the freedoms that we enjoy. We ask a blessing upon those who lead this great nation. Thou will inspire them and direct them, and especially a blessing upon those who protect our freedoms, that Thou will watch over them. Father, at this time, we bless Katie and Chuck, that they may be able to remember those that are here to support them, that they may be able to be mindful of them and to draw upon them, draw upon the friendships and the family that they have here throughout their life, that they may be able to go to them when in times of happiness and in times of need. Father, we're grateful for them and for the life that they're going to embark, and that's our blessing upon them. That they may be able to have the health and the strength and the happiness to join together to be one and to raise their children in happiness and righteousness, Father, and bless them and be able to strive to get to know one another even better, and their strengths and their weaknesses will be there for both of those, Father. And we pray for Thy blessing upon them this day, that they may be able to enjoy the day and to share this with others and be blessed throughout this marriage. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I can't read anymore. I'm a little older than I like to be. Anyway, I wanted to let you guys know my name is Jimmy Chapman. I'm from South Carolina originally, but I have lived out here for the past 21 or so years. But Chuck is also from South Carolina. That's where I met him as a young kid, as a sixth grader when I moved in there, and we became best friends. And then when I moved out here, and Trina and I got married, and we moved into some condos in Orem, we met Katie and her family, and they became another family to us as well. And you know, it's really nice to be able to stand in between these two, having known Chuck most all of my life, and Katie for a good part of it. I'm not a preacher, I can tell you that right now. And so when they asked me to stand up and perform the ceremony, I'm not too nervous, but I can promise you this will be a little bit rusty. I've made several notes. If we were to do this ceremony, and we probably should because it's hot, it would be about a 4-minute ceremony, but we have people who come from a long ways away, like Francis and Jay came all the way from South Carolina, and Joel and his wife Amy came from Georgia, and several of you guys have traveled. So we're going to make it a little more than 4 or 5 minutes than they mandate, but it won't be a lot longer. I want to say it was about how long ago that Trina and I introduced you guys, Katie?
Almost 7 years.
And this is the thing, if I hold the microphone in front of you, you're supposed to talk, okay? Okay. Because it's coming to you later. It was about 7 or 8 years ago that Chuck and his girls came and visited us in Pleasant Grove, and one day he asked me to take him and the girls around and show them some sights and things, and I had a meeting at work. I wasn't able to do it, and so I went to Trina and said, what are we going to do? He wants to go around. I can't get out of my work thing. And she says, Katie knows a lot about, why don't we put them two together and let her take him around? And I said, that's a great idea. And so Katie was gracious enough, she was freed up that day, she was gracious enough to come over and take Chuck and his girls out and show them some things around the area. And when I came home from work, I'm like, where's my buddy at? Oh, they're having a movie night over at Katie's house. What? Supposed to be hanging with me. Anyway, we tried to we wanted to give this relationship a go from the get-go, but when you live 2,000 miles apart and both of you have jobs and commitments, it's hard to make things work. And so they kept in touch with phone and text and Facebook and other things. But nothing ever came of it beyond that. But it was funny. Every time I would talk to Chuck on the phone, he would always slip in a statement. Did you talk to Katie lately? Yeah. And then when I talked to Katie, did you happen to talk to Chuck? So I knew something was going to happen at some point. Didn't know when. Didn't think it would take 7 or 8 years, but I knew something was a brewing. So here we are. There's something we have to get cleared up right now, Katie. This involves you. I hear a lot of times people say, my wife is my best friend. So I need to know just how far up the hierarchy of friends do you think you're going to jump with this move right here?
Well, I already jumped. You're second now.
You see, I picture myself as 1A and Joel as 1B. And
Just maybe 2C or D.
I need to hear from you. If she's going to jump higher than 1C, then we're going to have to stop this right now.
I can't say anything other than she's number 1.
She's got a 1 by her name? Okay. We'll tentatively put a C. All right. Just so you know, I have arrows and dog ears all in my little pad here, so I'm trying to follow what I have done here.
You're really good.
All right. So, are you like me, have you ever known 2 people that are more deserving of this moment today? I don't know anybody else that's as deserving as these 2. And just like we just said, Chuck, I don't know about Joel, if he's willing to relinquish his 1 status, but I'm ready to step aside because marriage is a commitment, and Katie's right. She has to become number 1, just like you said, and you have to mean it. Every day she's got to be your focal point, and vice versa. Elena and Ella, you girls, your focal points too. You guys are a family now. You're going to be a family within about a half an hour. And so, their commitment is to you guys as well. Katie is committed to you guys. Chuck is committed to you guys. And this whole family unit is going to be committed to one another. And you'll see how strong and how awesome that is. I'll let you know that the Davidsons are some of the finest people I've ever known in my life. We would get off the bus after school, and I would get off at the Davidsons' house, and Chuck and I would spend the day together. And, you know, I was there probably as much as I was at my own house for a long time. They're like family. I call his mother Dean. She's my second mother. And like I said before, the Snyders and Gosses are family as well. Our family has been close to these guys for a long time. And I've got a note here that just says that today is a happy, joyful day. Weddings are that kind of thing typically. Marriage is not always as happy and joyful as today is going to be.
It's not.
Do you want out? I'm just telling you that there are going to be peaks and valleys, little storms here and there, but you guys are well aware of each other and what your comfort levels of things are, and you know each other, so I don't think you're going to have quite the bump that some do that are just hastily thrown together. But I know you guys will get through it. I've known you for a long time, and I know that neither one of you are anything other than peacemakers and want things to be smooth, and so I know this is going to be a good reunion, or a good union and a good relationship. Angie, are you ready to come and talk, or would you like to do it later? I'm going to turn the microphone over to Angie.
Okay, Katie wanted me to say something, and I just want to say how happy I am. Don't look at me. She's looked forward to this day for so long, and she deserves us more than anyone I can think of. And it makes me so happy that she found someone who loves her so much, as completely as Chuck does, and she's a pain in the ass sometimes. And he's a pain in the ass now, so it's okay. But I just want to tell you guys how happy I am for you, and you deserve this. And I'm really, really happy for you. But you get home for 6 months.
Thanks, Angie. All right, I'm going to have Chuck and Katie sit down right here in these chairs because I've got a few little stories that I have jotted down. I know Chuck told me not to embarrass him with these stories or else, but Katie never said anything, so. First one I'm going to tell is a Katie story. This one, when we first moved into the condos, I had my brother and cousin come out from Carolina. We went and played in a baseball tournament in Las Vegas. And we had just barely met these guys, and it was a brief meeting to my recollection. Well, we go to, how many hotels and motels are there in Las Vegas? Well, we're there at this little ratty one called Lady Luck, and I'm walking around, and I was thirsty, so I went to the bar, and I told the guy, I don't want one of those little bitty Coca-Colas like they give you when you're playing the slots or whatever. I want a big one in a big glass. So he gave me one in this great big wine glass, and which was fine by me. I was walking around sipping on my Coke. Well, imagine my surprise when I see Katie and Laura Lee and Angie coming towards me in the casino. And I'm like, uh-oh. So, you know, the first thing I say is, Hey, how you doing? I think I remember you guys from somewhere. We're neighbors, and this is Coke, by the way. I had to get that out of the way because I didn't know. I knew Katie and Laura Lee. They seemed like they were probably a little more liberal, but Angie, I didn't know. She's kind of straight-laced. I didn't want her to get her feelings hurt. Till I saw what she was drinking.
She was a good girl then.
She was. Okay, another one I'll tell on Katie is I was refereeing one night, and I refereed till like 11 o'clock, and I was driving home, and lo and behold, I get blue lights behind me. And I'm like, I wasn't speeding, what the crap? So I pull over, the guy comes, and I have your license and registration? Yes, sir. He takes off back to the car, and he comes back and says, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to step out of the car and put your hands behind the back, you're under arrest. What did I do? And he said, there's an outstanding warrant on you. And it comes from a parking ticket or something at BYU from years ago. And it hadn't been paid, and I was like, I didn't even drive a car when I was at BYU. Well, anyway, I went to jail. In the back of a squad car way out in Spanish Fort. And they came, I'm wearing my referee outfit, I'm sweaty, I was looking forward to going home and relaxing. Well, they give you one phone call. Who, do you think I called my wife? She wouldn't come and got me. I called Katie. I could count on Katie. So, late at night, Katie gets up out of bed, comes down to the jailhouse, posts $125 bail for me. Did I ever give you that back?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, with interest.
I would rather serve my time. Anyway, she came out late at night, got me out of jail. Everything worked out, but she was the one I called. She come and got me.
She tried to put that on me too.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to say it was my friend.
What sisters do. So the last one I'll tell about Katie is I was in Pittsburgh one time at a baseball game for the Pirates, and I was standing in the outfield bleachers, and during the batting practice, I was not facing where I should have been, and a home run ball hit me square in the middle of the top of the head and opened me up. And I was bleeding I was bleeding. And they had given me a shirt. Everybody, it was shirt night. Well, my shirt went to stop the bleeding. And I had to leave immediately. I took a cab, went over to the hospital, was waiting in this huge long line, and I told the nurse, look, I've got tickets to the game, and they're starting without me. Just do something, help me out here. So she said, all right, I'll get some staples, and we'll staple your head shut. So she stapled me shut. And I went back to the cab, went back to the game, was there by the second inning. And after I got back to Utah, I waited a little longer than I should have to get these staples out of there. But you know who I called? I called Katie. She come over to the house, and she's like feeling around, and it's like, your skin's really growing up over the staples now. I can't even hardly find them. So she went digging around in there, scraping all kinds of tools, trying to find the staple, and she finally got them and pulled them out. And I tell you, that was more painful than getting them put in. But she did it the right way, she always does. So, those are 3 Katie stories. Now I got a Chuck story. No, not this one. The first one I will tell on Chuck is when we were I was in 7th grade, he was in 8th grade. We go to the cafeteria to get our food. And he gets his tray and I get my tray, and we're walking to sit down. I sit down and I hear this terrible commotion. And I look up just in time to see his tray about 15 feet in the air. And there's chairs and tables flying everywhere as he's going down to the ground hollering. And he gets up and looks around, he's embarrassed. He gets up, he walks back over to the lunchroom lady that just took his money and says, "See that boy over there? He tripped me." And so she said, "All right, honey, go get you another one." Next one I'll tell is as I was a freshman in high school coming in as a 9th grader, Chuck was a seasoned 10th grader. And I was walking down the hall one day, and this bunch of, how do you say, black guys, colored guys, what's the right thing to say? They were all my buddies after all this, but anyway, at the time, they were just an intimidating bunch of guys that hung together, and they happened to be black. And they looked at me coming, and I had glasses at the time. I wore glasses, and one of them just had the thought to say, "That guy looks like a George." And so from then on, they called me, they couldn't say George, it was George. And so every time coming down the hall, they would see me coming, and they would say, "That dang George!" And it happened every day. And then on days where we'd see them coming, Chuck and I would be walking together, and if they didn't see me, Chuck would go out of his way to say, "Hey George, ain't you gonna say hey to your friends?" And then they would say, "Oh, that is George." He did that every day, because they didn't see me coming. The last story I'm gonna tell on Chuck, he's not gonna care for this one. I went on a date one night as a high school kid, but I didn't want to go on the date without my buddy, so I called Chuck. And he went on our date as a third wheel. And it was a romantic date. I think we took her bowling and to Taco Bell. I mean, we were putting on a show for Maria. Her name was Maria Gonzalez, and she's a pretty girl, but I wanted my buddy there. He was in the back seat. And as we were having our fine dining at Taco Bell, we started talking about our middle names. And what's your middle name, Jimmy? William. Chuck, what's your middle name? Lewis. And then we said to her, "Maria, what's your middle name?" And she says, "It's really a touchy subject. I really don't want to talk about it." And we didn't want to let that die. Do you remember what her middle name was? And so I kept pressing, "What is your middle name? It's only fair. We told you ours, you tell us yours." So finally she says, "Okay, it's Philomena." Do you remember what you leaned up and said to me? Do I need to tell y'all what he leaned up and said to me? It sounded something like that, Philomena. As the date ended, we were going back to her house to take her home, and things had been going good. We wined her and dined her. I said, "Hey, I'm cutting these lights off. You just hang here. I'll be back in a few minutes." So we walked up. She and I were walking up to the steps and to the door. It was dark and the mood was romantic, and we were about halfway up the stairs, and all of a sudden the headlights on my car come on bright. And so I turned around to him, and I was shaking my fist at him, telling him to turn the stupid lights off. And we got to the top of the steps, and she turned around to hug me or something, and I wasn't looking at her, and when I turned, it surprised me, and she knocked me off balance, and I tumbled down about 10 stairs. I landed down on the ground. The lights are still on bright. I can hear him laughing at the top of his lungs in the car. And I look up at her, and she's like, and I just waved at her and said, "I'll call you later." I went to the car, got in, drove home, said some choice words to him. Anyway, that's 3 Chuck stories. It was hard to narrow down for both of these guys to come up with these. I had to cut some out. Oh, the other funny part of that date was as Chuck was sitting in the back seat, a David Lee Roth song came on called Just a Gigolo. And the chorus to that is, it says, I ain't got nobody, sad and lonely, nobody cares about me. And he just kept singing that back there. And, but the thing I want to talk about now is that look around you. There are a lot of people here who care about both of you. I mean, they're here, we can see them. But I want to let you guys know that in an occasion like this, I believe that it's possible that there are people here that you can't see that care about you just as much. There's a quote that I pulled from the church. Whether you believe that or not, I do believe in this quote, and this was from Ezra Taft Benson. It says, sometimes the veil between this life and the life beyond becomes very thin. Our loved ones who have passed on are not far from us. And I do believe that. And I believe that in an occasion like this today, that this is important enough that there are those that are not here physically, but yet are here. I can promise you that. I remember, and I'll give you a few little evidences of that. I remember that when my own parents were married, they were driving home from the wedding and they were comparing notes, who came from each other's family. And one of the names that my daddy said that was in attendance that he saw was his Uncle Herbert, who he lived with as a child, who had passed away. He was deceased, but yet he saw him and he swore that he was there. And I've never met a man more trustworthy than my own father. And so if he said it, I knew it's true. Another one I'll give you is my grandfather had passed away, and then when my granny passed away, we had a couple of people who said later that they had seen his presence there witnessing her funeral. And so, just another little evidence. And if you need one closer to home, I'll give you one more. And that was where I was out here in Utah, and I got a call from Steve Davidson, Chuck's younger brother. And he was in the hospital at the time and not doing very well. And he called me and says, Jimmy, what does it mean if I'm laying here in my hospital bed and I see my deceased grandparents sitting at the foot of my hospital bed wearing their Sunday best? And I said, you saw that? And he said, I certainly did. She was sitting down in a chair and he was standing right behind her with his hands on her shoulders. And I said, it means that the veil is thin right now and they are looking after you. And Steve is another one that I would never make up something like that. He would not do that. So I submit to you that in these roads where we have reserved chairs for our close relatives and our people, the reserved ones, I am telling you that there's another row that's reserved on Katie's side. And if I gave you the microphone and said, Katie, who's sitting in your reserved section, you would know. And if I gave it to Chuck and said, Chuck, who's in your reserved section, you would both be able to give me names. And I can promise you that they are here. Chuck and Katie, will you stand up and join me over here? John, will you please come up? Katie right here, Chuck right here. Who gives this woman in marriage?
I do.
Good, thank you, John. Chuck, do you take Katie to be your lawfully wedded wife? Do you promise to love, honor, cherish, and protect her, forsaking all others and holding on to her in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Katie, look at Chuck in his eyes. Do you take Chuck to be your lawfully wedded husband? Do you promise to love, honor, cherish, protect him, forsaking all others and holding only unto him in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for as long as you both shall live?
Hell yes, I do. Wait, am I supposed to?
As long as you got the I do part.
Okay, I got
on
the
it.
idea.
We need the rings. Who's got the rings?
Jackie. Good thing coming.
Chuck, please take the ring you picked for Katie. I'll have you stand just to the left. As you put this ring on her finger of her left hand, repeat after me. Put that ring on her finger and repeat. With this ring I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
All right, do we have a ring for Katie to give?
Aw,
That's the only thing that's wrong.
I know.
Katie, I want you to repeat after me. Chuck, with this ring I thee wed.
Chuck, with this ring I thee wed.
Insomuch as the two of you have consented together in holy wedlock and have witnessed the same before God and this company, by authority vested in me by the state of Utah, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Chuck, turn around where the people can see you and give Mrs. Davidson a kiss. We have somebody for the music.
She's crying, just a sec.
Please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Chuck Davidson.